Hi guys, I'm Charlie, a Charlie Book Fanatic. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk to you about the books I want to read in March. I'm going to match my books up with another one of the Pop Sugar challenges. I've been doing the Pop Sugar challenge since January this year. I will link the challenge down below, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. Although I do feel like the challenges are going quite fast, and soon enough I will run out of books and actually have to actively go out and look at books that aren't on my TBR to fit these challenges. First of all, I want to talk about a book I have taken over from February. I already started reading it in February, but I only read a chapter a day, and that is Wuthering by Brontë. I'm only reading a chapter a day because this is a classic, and besides this I am also reading other stuff. I am having fun with this. It's been a while since I read a classic, but I have to say I'm already quite sure this is my favorite. I'm not going to go too in depth, but the story is described as a tragic love story between a man called Heathcliff and a girl called Catherine, and it details what happened to them through a story format. It's basically a caretaker talking about Catherine and Heathcliff to a visitor, and that is basically the whole book so far. I'm currently on page 183, and I think I'm about halfway through the book right now. I can't really say much about it except for the fact that I don't really enjoy the characters. I don't like any of them, but I think that was exactly the point Emily Brontë was trying to make. Aside from that, I really enjoy the writing style. I always have that with authors like Emily Brontë, Charlotte Brontë, Jane Austen, just classic authors. I really like the way they write. And that is all I can say about this, really. I will tell you more about this in, I hope, my March wrap up, and if I don't finish it in March, but I think I will. I will talk to you about this one in my April wrap up, because I will have for sure finished this one by then. This one matches up with the more than 1 million ratings on Goodreads challenge. Now, the next book I want to talk about is also a book I'm currently reading, and I am so excited to have, is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think this is on a lot of people's most anticipated reads after reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I also loved, and I am so excited to have this. I am over halfway done. I'm almost done with this book. It is written in an interview format, and it is so exciting. This fits with the challenge of no chapter headings / unusual chapter headings, because there are no chapters in this. There are different parts, like in The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but it is just an ongoing interview with different people like Daisy and the band members of the Six, and interviewers, different journalists from magazines, and the manager of the band The Six, and it's so exciting. It is a historical fiction book, and it follows Daisy Jones and this band called The Six, who team up together to make an album, and they both rise to fame at the exact same time, but then they figure out that they work better together. Although Daisy does have a drug addiction problem, and she doesn't really match up well with the lead singer of The Six, but it's basically a story about their unconventional relationship and whether they really hate each other or do they have more romantic feelings for each other, because I do feel like it's a very intimate thing. You are constantly together, you're singing together, you're writing lyrics together, like romantic lyrics, although they are a rock and roll band, and it's just about the dynamics between this band and Daisy Jones. It is for sure a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I really recognize her in this, especially if you only have read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. You really notice that she's trying to go on in the same vein here, and I think it really fits her well. It's a great book so far, and I would really recommend you read it because I'm enjoying this a lot right now. Another book I am very excited to have is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This, I believe, is a standalone. I've read multiple books by Colleen Hoover in the past, and it's always hit or miss for me, but if it's a hit, it's always a major hit, and this one sounded so interesting. I didn't know about this one. This is her latest release. I think it came out in January, and I read the synopsis and I was immediately sold. It sounds so different from Colleen Hoover's other books. I feel like this is the first foray into the thriller genre, and I am so excited to read this. I also love the cover of this, by the way. And this one fits with a book about a hobby challenge, and to be honest, it's a bit of a stretch, but writing plays a huge part in this book, although it's not necessarily as a hobby, but one of the characters in this book is a writer, and I think that counts as a book about a hobby, because I don't exactly feel like reading a non-fiction book about a hobby, so I feel like this one should fit in there. This book is about a main character called Lowen Ashley, who is a struggling writer, as he gets hired by a man to finish his injured wife's book series. Lowen accepts, and when she arrives at the house and goes through all of his wife's notes, she actually finds an unfinished manuscript. It is the man's wife's autobiography, and the wife is called Verity, which is why this book is called Verity. In this autobiography are a lot of secrets which could ruin the relationship between this man and this woman. And our main character, Lowen, falls in love with this man, and she's not sure whether she should give him this autobiography and try to give herself a chance to be in a romantic relationship with him, or if she should keep it a secret. And the back says that this is definitely a standalone, so I'm excited to finish this. This book is quite heavy, by the way. I am kind of surprised by this, but is this kind of heavy like the Geekerella book? Like, Geekerella is also an unusual weight, even though they're kind of thin. I feel like they're made from the same kind of paper. I'm not entirely sure. There's nothing unusual in this, but they're just heavier than other paperbacks. Then I'm going to talk about two books that consist of an exciting project I'm going to do, and those are Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. If you've been around for a while, you know I did a reading vlog for the entire Grisha trilogy back in December, and now I'm going to do the same thing for the Six of Crows duology. I felt like it was time to continue on with this series, and I am so excited for this. I've tried reading Six of Crows before I ever tried to read the Grisha trilogy, and I didn't really get into it. I ended up around 100 pages before I DNF'd it, but I am now ready to continue on with it, and I think I will like it a lot more now I've read the Grisha trilogy and have some context within this world. And I'm also very, very excited to finish this series because a lot of people are more excited about Six of Crows than they were about the Grisha trilogy. And then continue on with the new Nikolai duology. The first book just came out and is absolutely beautiful, and I cannot wait because Nikolai is one of my favorite characters from the Grisha trilogy, and I think everyone else's favorite character. Yeah, I am going to do a reading vlog for this duology. If you don't know what Six of Crows is about, I believe it can be read as a standalone from the Grisha trilogy, although I didn't enjoy it as much without the Grisha trilogy. This book is all about a heist. It is led by our main character Kaz Brecker and this whole crew of ragtag people who tried to pull off this big thing. The book doesn't say much more than that. I haven't heard anyone else say much more than that, except for that there are great romantic ships in here and that there are a lot of great relationship dynamics, and I cannot wait to find all of that out for myself. I did decide to put Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom with different challenges. Six of Crows is going to be put under the challenge for a book written by a musician because Leigh Bardugo is actually a singer in a band. I don't know if she still is, but I found a video of her singing in a band a couple years ago, so she can actually sing. She is a singer. And I put Crooked Kingdom under a book told from multiple POVs because I'm assuming that it is also told from multiple POVs just like Six of Crows is. Then for a book about someone with a superpower, I'm going to be reading Volume 8 of Miss Marvel called Mecca. I don't have this graphic novel yet, but I will soon have it in my possession so I can read it. If you don't know what Miss Marvel is about, she is obviously a superhero in the Marvel universe. She is a Muslim teenager, also goes to high school, and suddenly discovers that she has these powers to elongate her limbs, and she tries to save her city time and time again. And there are also some other superhero cameos in here, especially like the Loki cameo, although he's not a superhero, you know what I mean. I just really like that they show up in here, even though I don't read their comics or am particularly interested in superheroes. Miss Marvel is really the only superhero I like. I recently did a poll on Twitter where I asked people to pick a book for me and my boyfriend to read together. We're not necessarily going to read it together, like buddy reading. I'm just going to read the book and he's going to read it separately, and then we'll talk about it when we both finish it. But the book that came out of this poll was When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi, and this one fits into the challenge of a book published posthumously because Paul died before he could ever publish this book. So this book is actually written from the perspective of a neurosurgeon dying from lung cancer. So since a lot of people have recommended this book, I'm very excited to be reading this one. I have had my eye on it for quite a while, and I cannot wait to get to it and read another memoir, since I recently read Educated by Tara Westover and I really enjoyed that one. So I want to continue on with reading more non-fiction / memoirs in 2019. So these were the books I am planning on reading in March. There are 6 books on this TBR. Those are the most books I have had on the TBR this year yet. And I hope I can get to them all. Let's see. Otherwise they will just push over into April, I guess. I am very excited about all of these books. Let me know down below whether you've read any of them and what did you think about them, or what are you planning on reading in March. I would love to know. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!